Now, let's begin by talking about what a bond is. A bond essentially is a promise. A promise to do what? A promise to pay money. But then why would you promise somebody that you're going to pay them money? It is because you have obviously borrowed money from them. That's the essence of a bond. Now, kindly focus on your screen in a second. You will have the notebook on here again. So what is a bond? A bond is basically an instrument. What is a bond? A bond is an instrument. To do what? To raise a loan. That is to borrow money. Now, what is the meaning of instrument? Instrument means it's a mean of doing that. Now, an instrument to raise a loan can be a bank loan, can be a non-banking financial corporation loan. It can be a debenture. Essentially, what these instruments are their contracts. Every bond, every bank loan, every NBFC loan, every debenture has a specified rate of interest in it. Specified rate of interest is calculated on the face value of the instrument. Now, what do I mean by that? Kindly focus and pay attention. When you take a bond on, it is essentially a contract. A contract which mentions the sum of money, say for example, 1 lakh. This amount mentioned in the contract is the face value of the instrument. What is this, guys? This is the face value of the instrument. Now, always keep one thing in mind. Face value need not always be the issue price. Need not always be what? The issue price. What do I mean by issue price? What do I mean by issue price? Issue price is the money you get when the instrument is issued, that is purchased. For example, a 10% 5-year bond of 100,000 is issued at 105%. What is the meaning of this? You are getting 105% of 1 lakh, which is 1,05,000 is received when the bond is issued. Now, somebody may curiously ask me this question. If 1 lakh is listed down as the face value of the instrument, then what compels an investor to pay an extra sum of money for that instrument which is being charged at for 1 lakh? That is a good question to ask. Why are you paying more for something that costs 1 lakh? This is the rate of interest offered by the company. Let us say that at the same time, the market is offering only 8%. In this scenario, is company offering 10%? Isn't it more than the market? So if you are giving more interest, you can obviously charge more money. I hope everybody understands this concept. अगर आप ज्यादा पैसा दे रहे हो तो ऑब्वियसली मतलब आप ज्यादा ब्याज अगर दे रहे हो तो ऑब्वियसली आप ज्यादा पैसा चार्ज कर सकते हो. इसी लॉजिक से अगर आप कम ब्याज दे रहे हो तो मार्केट वाले आपको आपकी फेस वैल्यू से कम पैसा देंगे, क्योंकि उनको आपसे फायदा कम है. द मार्केट रेट दैट इज बीइंग ऑफर्ड is referred to as yield. What is this? This is known as yield. These are two important points you need to learn. What are they? You will have a company interest rate and you will have a yield whenever you're dealing with bonds. Whenever you're dealing with debentures, you have to first compare the interest rate and the yield to understand whether or not the instruments are traded at par, premium, or discount. This is the first step in understanding your bonds. I hope everybody has understood this particular concept. सबको ये बात समझ में आई होगी. If yes, kindly respond. If no, tell me so. I will explain it again. Anita, Danesh, Divya, are you understanding?
Yes, sir. Sir, yield means provided by market, ना?
मार्केट. आज मार्केट में अगर आपको 1 लाख रुपया लेना है लोन पे तो आपको 8% ब्याज देना पड़ेगा. मैं आपसे 1 लाख रुपया मांग रहा हूं पर मैं आपको 10% ब्याज दे रहा हूं. मैं आपको
Understood,
ज्यादा
sir.
ब्याज दे रहा हूं क्योंकि मेरे पास ज्यादा ब्याज देने की क्षमता है, लिक्विडिटी है, मैं फाइनेंशियली स्ट्रांग हूं. आई बात समझ में?
Yes, sir. Understood.
So now 105%.
नो, आई एम टेकिंग 105. आई एक्सप्लेन दैट. आई कम टू दैट. ठीक है, इतना समझा सबको? यील्ड और इंटरेस्ट रेट का फर्क समझा?
Yes, sir.
100%. चलो, दिस इज आवर फर्स्ट. आज के लेक्चर में अगर आप ज्यादा लिखेंगे नहीं तो चलेगा. वैसे भी मेरे स्क्रीन मेमोरी का प्रॉब्लम हो रहा है, तो मैं आपको सारे स्क्रीनशॉट्स दे दूंगा. लेक्चर के बाद आप बैठ के आराम से लिख सकते हो. दैट शुड नॉट बी अ प्रॉब्लम एट ऑल. लेट्स कम बैक एंड लेट्स कंटिन्यू आवर डिस्कशन. अब मैं ये कह रहा हूं, अब डिस्कशन यील्ड पे जाने वाला है और इंटरेस्ट रेट पे जाने वाला है. फोकस कीजिए. इंटरेस्ट रेट क्या होता है? दिस इज द रेट द कंपनी गिव्स. दिस इज द रेट द कंपनी गिव्स. और यील्ड क्या होता है? ये मार्केट रेट ऑफ इंटरेस्ट. हमेशा याद रखिए कि अगर आपका इंटरेस्ट रेट यील्ड रेट से ज्यादा है तो कैन आई से दैट द कंपनी इज ऑफरिंग मोर इंटरेस्ट? यस और नो, प्लीज टेल मी.
Yes.
तो इसमें इन्वेस्टर इज अर्निंग मोर. यस और नो, प्लीज टेल मी दैट. Because of this, company can charge a premium. What can the company do?
Sure.
Company can charge a premium. Now, what is the meaning of this? For example, a $100,000 bond is selling at 105% rate. Now, it shows that company wants a loan of how much?
1 lakh.
1 lakh. But is willing to pay a higher rate of interest. Are you with me on that? We are in this particular case, interest rate is greater than yield. Which case are we in? Interest rate is greater than yield. A company wants a loan of 1 lakh but is willing to pay a higher rate of interest, and hence it can demand for more than 1 lakh. Why it can demand for more than 1 lakh? Because it is paying a higher rate of interest. So the company now will receive some money. What will happen? Company will receive money. Now look at the situation around you. Company will receive money and create a liability for itself. You will ask me, why is it creating a liability? Because it is a loan that it is taking. Why? Because this bond has to be repaid along with interest. Has to be repaid along with interest. So debit, what comes in? Bank account debit. क्या नहीं समझा बोल?
ये ₹1,00,000 का बॉन्ड सेलिंग एट 105.
हाँ,
सो प्रीमियम पे वो लोग बेच
बिल्कुल 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 प्रीमियम पे बेचे.
कैसे मांग रहे हैं?
लाख रुपया नहीं मांग रहा वो बोल रहा है बॉन्ड ₹1,00,000 का है.
हाँ.
मैं तुझे ब्याज ज्यादा दे रहा हूं. बराबर है.
हम्म.
बॉन्ड की वैल्यू कितनी है? लाख रुपया, पर मैं तुझे ब्याज ज्यादा दे रहा हूं, तो ऑटोमेटिकली मेरे बॉन्ड की भी वैल्यू बढ़ गई लाख से,
हाँ
तो तू मुझे लाख से ज्यादा पैसा देगा,
हाँ
बराबर है। अब जर्नल एंट्री दे, डेबिट व्हाट कम्स इन, बैंक अकाउंट डेबिट, इतना समझा।
हाँ
कितना पैसा मिला तुझे, तुझे 1,05,000 मिला। उसके सामने फॉर एग्जाम्पल तेरा 10% बॉन्ड है, वो कितने का था, 1 लाख का था,
सिक्योरिटी
पर ये जो 5,000 है ये क्या बन गया, ये बॉन्ड प्रीमियम बन गया। ये क्या बन गया,
बॉन्ड। तो
और ये जो बॉन्ड प्रीमियम होता है ना, दिस इज amortized by using effective interest method or straight line method. Today we are going to discuss EIM because that is more difficult. SLM we will finish कुल मिला के 10 minutes में, but that's for tomorrow so that I can revise EIM as well. Today we will be putting 2, 3, 4 hours if needed for doing what, EIM, specifically what, EIM. Why? Because that is what your questions are going to be in the exams. Don't expect questions on straight line method. It is illogically simple. It is illogically simple. I hope you are with me on that. So far, what was the journey that we followed? That the company is offering an interest rate of 10%, whereas the market currently, let's say, offers an interest rate of 7%. Is this much clear to everybody? So can I say that the company is offering more interest? So can I say that the investor is earning more income? Can I say that now the company can charge a premium? Therefore, can I say that $100,000 bond can sell at 105%? Can I say that the company wants a loan of 1 lakh, but it is willing to pay a higher rate of interest and hence it can demand for more than 1 lakh? Can I say that the company will receive that more money and it will create a liability for itself as well? What is the liability that it will create? It has to repay 1 lakh. So the liability is of 1 lakh. But how much money is it receiving? It is receiving 5,000 extra. So that 5,000 extra is a profit. What is that? It's a profit. But that profit has to be amortized. What is the meaning of amortized? It has to be distributed over the life of the bond. What is it that it has to do? It has to distribute this profit over the life of the bond. I hope this aspect is clear to everybody. This profit has to be distributed over the life of the bond. There are two methods of this distribution. What are they? Effective interest rate method and the second is straight line method. What are we learning in today's lecture? Effective interest rate method. Have we understood where we are? Does everybody understand where we are standing at the current moment? Yes or no? Please tell me that. 100%. So let's take a
Yes, sir.
screenshot of this. Let's take a screenshot of this. Now, let me write a new scenario for you. The company, that is the interest rate that is offered by the company, let us say it is 10%. And the yield, that is what? That is the rate offered by the market. Let us say it is 12%. So can I in this scenario say that interest rate is less than yield rate? Yes or no? Okay. Now let's go ahead. Can I say that company is offering less than what the market does? Agreed?
Yes.
Can I say that investor will pay less for such a scheme as it is below the market price or below the market rate? This is when bonds will sell at discount. This is when bonds will sell at what? Discount. What is the meaning of discount? Amount less than face value. So for example, a company issues a 10% $100,000 bond at the rate 96.4%. At the rate how much? 96.4%. Now let us pass a journal entry for the same. Debit, what comes in?
Bank.
Bank account debit. 1 lakh multiplied by 96.4%, which is 96,400. But the company has to repay the 10% bond, and the value of the 10% bond face value stays 1 lakh only. But what is the amount that they got less? 3,600. What was this? This was discount on bond. What was this? This was the loss that the company made. This was the loss that the company made on the issue of the bond. This discount on the bond, just like the premium is amortized, this discount, just like premium, yes, in the previous example, just like premium, in the previous example, comma, will get amortized. Over what? Over the life of the bond. What is life of the bond? It is the period over which the amortization will happen. Are we clear about this? Have we all understood the concept? In the second or the third case, you can say that the market is offering 10%, the company is offering 10%. So will the bond fetch more money or less money or exact money? The answer is exact money. It will be at par. Where a bond is at par, the question of amortization of discount or premium does not arise. Does not arise. Are we absolutely clear about this, ladies and gentlemen? 110%? Okay.
Yes,
Let's
sir.
take a screenshot of this. Faraz, are you understanding? Faraz, are you understanding?
Yes, sir, समझ रहे हैं,
Okay.
समझ रहे हैं, sir.
Why will companies have to issue the bond on discount?
Because they want money badly, they have a bad credit history, they are not able to pay high rates of interest, so they will take whatever money that they can get. Cash trapped companies or liquid poor companies or companies in desperate need of money will issue at a discount because उनको जो मिला वो चाहिए. But companies that are in a strong position, that want the money but are not desperate enough to say कि मैं झुक के पैसा लूंगा, will obviously offer it at a premium. Am I clear about this?
Yeah.
Okay. Now let's go ahead. Yes. कौन से किस्म का?
सर सी टाइप
सी टाइप मतलब वंश तेरा ही बोला ना?
नहीं नहीं चाहिए
मम्मी का चार्जर कहाँ है पता नहीं, फोन घूम गया था. एक मिनट. Okay, let's continue. Now, what do we have to learn first? First step in understanding bonds, our first type of question or concept in bonds is the valuation of the bond. The value of the bond or the value of any asset is the present value of the cash flows that the bond generates. Now, my dear students, please understand. You will look at it from the perspective of the investor. From whose perspective? From the perspective of the investor. Now ask yourself, what cash flow does the investor receive?
Interest.
Very good.
And
What
principal.
cash flow? Perfect. does the investor receive? Good answer.
Principal to end of the.
End of the period, yes. So can I say interest throughout the life?
Yeah, and principal at the end of.
Perfect. Perfect. And can I say B, principal at the end of life? Can I say this?
Yes.
Both of these have to be what? Present valued. Both of these have to be what? Present valued. My dear students, we have discussed the concept of present value when we have done capital budgeting lecture number 1. I believe my CMA students who I'm talking to right now. Do you agree that we have discussed present value?
sir.
Net
Yes,
present value and all that. Now, let us take a look at the following scenario. A bond offers 10% interest rate while the market rate is 14%. The face value is equal to 1 lakh, which is repayable at the end of 3 years. I am purposely taking 3 years because 3 lu ya 5 lu, it will not really hamper your calculation or your understanding in any which way. Repayable at the end of 3 years. So what does the investor get? In year 1, year 2 and year 3, what are the inflows for the investor? The first inflow that the investor gets is interest, which is 10% of 1 lakh, which is 10,000. How did I get this? It is 1 lakh multiplied by 10%. Second year also that much. Third year also that much. But in the third year, he is also going to get 1 lakh, that is the principal repayment. This will now be fair valued at the rate of 14%. How do we do this on our calculators? 1 divided by 1.14. 1 divided by 1.14. What is my answer, my dear students? 0.877. Press equal to again. I will get
0.769.
Press equal to again. I will get
0.677.
Please don't press equal to again because 0.675 are
Same.
both the rates for the third year.
Yes.
Kindly keep that much in mind.
Yes, sir.
Now what will I get? I will get present value cash inflow, which is 8,770, 7,690, 6,750 and 67,500. Please take a total of this. 8,770, 7,690, 6,750 and 67,500. 90,710. What is 90,710? This is the present value of all the cash flows the investor will receive over the course of the life of the bond. Hence, he will not be willing to pay more than 90,710 for the purchase of this bond.
So it means they will have to issue the bond at
Discount.
discount.
Not necessarily. The bond will go at 1 lakh because today the value of 1 lakh is 1 lakh. But the investor will not pay 1 lakh for it. Investor knows that out of this bond, I am going to earn 90,710. The value of money that I am going to receive. पैसे की कीमत जो मुझे इस बॉन्ड में से मिलने वाली है वो कितने की है? 90,710. तो जिस चीज की कीमत 90,710 रुपया है, क्या मैं उसके लिए 90,710 रुपये से ज्यादा पैसा दूंगा क्या? आइडियली देना नहीं चाहिए. दिया तो मैं गधा हूं, पर देना चाहिए क्या? नहीं देना चाहिए. So he will not be willing to pay more than 9 for the purchase of this bond. What is 90,710 called? It is called बुक वैल्यू ऑफ द बॉन्ड. बुक वैल्यू मतलब क्या? इन्वेस्टर के बुक्स में, इन्वेस्टर के रिकॉर्ड में बॉन्ड की वैल्यू कितनी है? सो दिस इज द मैक्सिमम that the investor will pay. Is this clear? Yes or no? Please tell
Yes.
me that. The topic of valuation of bond is completed. Concept number one, question number one, bond, valuation of bond, जो भी रहा होगा, it is completed. This is a part of unit 2. I had confirmed it early in the morning with Hari Priya. She was kind enough to respond. This is a part of unit number 2 for CMA students. For us, this is a part of bond amortization for you. And for CFA students, we have begun a topic called as fixed income securities. What have we started?
Yes, sir.
Fixed income securities. Now, this is one example of a bond valuation. This is one example of a bond valuation. We will be talking about this in depth in the course of the session. Now, what I will ideally recommend to everybody in this classroom is to copy down everything while I put the screen, I will put the recording on pause, you copy it down. Because if after the lecture you copy it down, a lot of things will get erased from your head. Are you understanding what I'm trying to say? So I will go slow. I will go slow because I have 2 weeks still with the CMA guys. And I have much more time with CFA and CPA. So please write this down. Am I clear about these instructions? Please write this down. And I expect one student to send a photograph of his or her notebook in the class. Please do that. Right? All of us are in the position to write. Anita, you are back home or back to library?
No, sir, at home. I will write.
But you are in the position to write?
Yes, yes, sir.
Very good. Please make your notes. Danish, what about you? I hope you can write. Divya, yes, Hemu, everybody please start writing down. I am pausing the recording. So let's come into amortization. Of bond discounts. Now, let us say that the issue date is 31st of December 2022. What is the meaning of issue date is 31st of December 2022? It means that the bonds have been issued on this particular date. The face value of the bonds is $1 lakh. The issue price is 96.4%. The stated interest rate is 8%, whereas the yield is 10.031%. Interest is paid half yearly. Interest is paid half yearly, meaning interest is paid every 6 months. Means when do you pay interest? Interest is paid on 30th of June and 31st of December every year. And the life is 2 years. Now keep one thing in mind. When the life is 2 years, interest is paid every year. Now, for a 2-year bond, comma, interest will be paid how many times?
4 times.
It will be paid 4 times. It will be paid 4 times. 2 times in each year. Now, what is the scenario? The scenario is that the market is offering you a higher interest than your stated interest. So, obviously, such a bond will trade at a discount. Now, let us talk about year. In this year, that is on the 31st of December 2022, what has happened? I am making certain columns. I am making certain columns. I want you to pay attention. Cash interest paid is the first column. Bond interest expense is the second column. The third column is amortization of discount. The fourth column is unamortized discount. The fifth column is carrying value. Now, my dear friends, carrying value will be the starting point of the bond. My first question to everyone is, how much money are you receiving for this bond? My answer is 96,400 is received for this bond. Does everybody understand how? Because it is 96.4% of 100,000. That is why 96,400 is received for this bond. Does everybody clearly understand this particular aspect? Yes or no? Please tell me. Without this, I cannot go ahead. Please tell me.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Got it, sir.
What is the first journal entry that you will pass for this bond, sir? I will pass the entry bank account debit 96,400. Sir, discount account debit
3,000.
to 8% bond 1 lakh. Sir, so unamortized discount is 3,600. This was the starting point. Please notice one thing. The first funda, unamortized discount plus carrying value will always be equal to face value. First funda I am writing over here is unamortized discount plus carrying value is always equal to face value. What is the total of these two people put together? Please tell me.
1 lakh.
Okay. Let us continue ahead. 30th of June 23. Interest will be paid. How much is interest? Interest is 1 lakh. के ऊपर 8% is paid, but it is paid half yearly, so it will be multiplied by 6 by 12. Why? क्योंकि half yearly है. This comes to 4,000. Now, my dear friends, comes the interesting point. That is the bond interest expense. That is what? That is the bond interest expense. Bond interest expense is always paid on the carrying value of the bond at the actual market rate for that particular period. This is actually how much interest you are paying. Sir, why you are saying like this? Now tell me one thing, my dear friends. हाथ में कितना पैसा आया? 96,400 आया. 96,400 पे मार्केट कितना इंटरेस्ट दे रहा है तुमको? 10.031. कितने पीरियड के लिए? 6 महीने के लिए. Isn't that the real expense? Isn't that the real interest on the bond? Yes, sir. That is the real interest on the bond. So that will be how much? 4,835. आपके बॉन्ड का एक्चुअल रोकड़ा कितना मिला? मार्केट एक्चुअली कितना इंटरेस्ट दे रहा है? कितने टाइम के लिए? तो एक्चुअल इंटरेस्ट आपने कितना दिया आपके जेब में से? आपने 4,000 रुपया जेब में से कैश निकाल के दे दिया बेटा, मैं मानता हूं, लेकिन वो 4,000 रुपया आपने कितने पे दिया? 1 लाख पे दिया कि 96,000 पे दिया? 1 लाख पे दिया. पर आपकी जेब में 1 लाख रुपया आया था क्या? आपकी जेब में कितना आया था? 96,400. 96,400 पे ब्याज मिलेगा कि नहीं मिलेगा? क्योंकि वो एक्चुअल आपकी उधारी है कि नहीं? उस एक्चुअल उधारी पे एक्चुअली मार्केट में कितना ब्याज मिलता है? 10.031%. कितने पीरियड के लिए? हाफ ईयर के लिए. तो एक्चुअल इंटरेस्ट कितना होना चाहिए था? 4,835. उसमें से रोकड़े में कितना दिया आपने? 4,000 रुपया दिया. सर, जो रोकड़े में नहीं दिया वो क्या? वो भी आपका खर्चा है, मैं मानता हूं. वो क्या है? वो खर्चा है, लेकिन वो खर्चे का एमोर्टाइजेशन चालू हो गया. वो क्या हो गया? खर्चे का एमोर्टाइजेशन चालू हो गया. पे अटेंशन. इस अमोर्टाइज्ड में से ये 835 कट जाएगा और आपके हाथ में कितना बचेगा? 2765 बचेगा. टोटल कितना होना चाहिए राजा? 1 लाख होना चाहिए ना हमेशा, ये रूल है. तो अभी इधर कितना आएगा? 97,235.
सर बट 835 खर्चा कैसे होएगा?
मैं बताता हूं. 835 खर्चा नहीं है, 835 amortization. अब उसका मतलब क्या है मैं समझाता हूँ. होल्ड ऑन, पहले ये कैलकुलेशन देख लेते. ठीक है, पहले कैलकुलेशन देख लेते, फिर मैं जर्नल एंट्री दिखाता हूँ. जर्नल एंट्री में सब कुछ बैठ जाए, या फिर आपको पहला ही अभी जर्नल एंट्री दिखा देता हूं. ये जर्नल एंट्री देखो, आपको हजम होती है क्या, जरा देखना. सर ये पहली एंट्री लग गई, उसमें आपने पहले इसमें 3600 को डेबिट कर दिया. ऑलरेडी डेबिटेड 3600 इन द फर्स्ट गो. सर what is my expense in US GAAP that you are studying this under, expense in IFRS that you are studying this under, US GAAP IFRS that you are doing this under, is always going to be the fair value of what is being done at effective rate of interest. What is the carrying value of the instrument? 96,400. Is that the essence of the money that you have received today? Yes, it is. So you will say bond interest expense account debit, or you can say bond interest also. How much? 4835. Debit all expenses and losses.
But you are only paying.
You are only paying 4,000. You are paying 4,000.
Yeah.
Is the money gone out? Has the
Yeah.
money gone out? Credit what goes out? Can I put cash account credit mein 4,000? Yes. But sir, what about 835? 835, this loss that you booked in one period, what did you do? This 3600, you booked this loss in one period as soon as the bond came. But what is the life of the bond? 2 years. So this loss of 3600 has to be distributed over 4 cycles of interest over 2 years. How much did you distribute over the first cycle? 835. What will you call it? To discount amortized.
But then you're not paying the investors what they're supposed to receive.
Of course, you are not paying them. Interest is always paid on face value. That's the contract.
Sir, so
Investor is going to receive how much interest from you? 8% or 10%? 8%. He has agreed for 8%.
Hmm.
But since you cannot pay 10%, he is giving you lesser money.
Hmm.
Is that your loss or no?
Yes.
In a way or the other, you have taken 1 lakh rupees, you have asked for 1 lakh rupees from the investor. How much have you asked from the investor?
1 lakh.
On how much are you paying interest to the investor? 1 lakh. But are you receiving 1 lakh? No. Somewhere or the other, the investor has already charged 3600 rupees from you as an advance interest. As an advance interest. The fact that I am asking for lakh rupees from you and I am getting 96,400 means you are cutting your interest and paying me the money. And over and above that, you are charging me an interest at the rate of 8% as well. My dear listeners, are you able to understand what I am trying to say? Yes or no? Kindly confirm with me. Danish, Faraz,
Yes, sir.
what is happening is, now I am writing here for everybody to understand. आपने 1 लाख मांगा. आपने कितना मांगा? 1 लाख मांगा. Agreed or disagreed? Yes or no? Please tell me. आपने 1 लाख मांगा. आपको कितना मिला? आपको 96,400 मिला. मतलब आपका 3600 इंटरेस्ट ऑलरेडी इन्वेस्टर ने डिडक्ट किया. उसने कमा लिया. आर यू अंडरस्टैंडिंग? प्लस ओवर एंड अबाउट दिस 3600 वो आपको लाख रुपए के ऊपर 8% पर एनम एवरी 6 मंथ्स तो चार्ज कर ही रहा है. कर रहे कि नहीं? ये आप कैश में दे रहे हो. यू आर पेइंग दिस इन कैश.
yeah.
Yes or no? ये आप कैश दे रहे हो. यू आर पेइंग दिस 4,000 इन कैश. What about this 3,600? Sir, I did not pay it. You did not pay it, nahi. You paid it without realizing it because you got that much less. So that what you got less, was that not your loss?
It was below.
Was it a loss on a particular day or for the period of the entire bond? For the period of the entire bond. There are 2 methods of allocating this loss over the period of the entire bond. First is straight line method. Second is effective interest rate method. What is the second one? Effective interest rate method. We are going by what in this question? Effective interest rate, as I informed you at the beginning of the lecture. Are you with me on that, ladies and gentlemen? Yes or no? Please tell me that. Yes or no?
Yes,
Yes, sir.
Therefore, this is your real expense. What you are essentially doing is you are booking 835, which is a part of this 3600, which was charged to you at one go. Now you are breaking it into smaller amortized pieces and are identifying it in a particular interest cycle. Are you understanding? Yes or no? Are you understanding? ये जो 4835 है उसमें आपका 4000 का खर्चा भी है और उसमें आपका 3600 का जो शुरुआत का नुकसान हुआ ना उसका एक छोटू सा टुकड़ा भी है.
सर ये तो इक्वल रहना चाहिए ना.
नहीं, इक्वल कब होगा? स्ट्रेट लाइन मेथड में होगा. स्ट्रेट लाइन में इक्वल होगा, इफेक्टिव इंटरेस्ट रेट पे इक्वल नहीं होगा.
क्यू पर इंटरेस्ट तो same
क्योंकि
ही रहता
हर साल तेरे इन्वेस्टमेंट की वैल्यू फ्लक्चुएट होती है. हर साल तेरा एक लॉस उस पीरियड में बुक होना चाहिए. आई बात समझ में?
है. सर बट ये 485 जो है 4835
हाँ,
that is what the investor will receive if he invests in the market, right?
इन द मार्केट.
So why are we taking it as an expense? हम लोग तो उसको कम पैसा भर रहे हैं.
हम लोग कम पैसा भर रहे हैं 4000, लेकिन उसने अपने को पैसा भी तो कम दिया. तू ब्याज कितने पे दे रहा है? लाख रुपए
लाख
पे.
रुपए पे.
पर तेरे हाथ में पैसा कितना है?
96,000.
तो लाख रुपए में ब्याज देगा पर इस्तेमाल 96,000 करेगा.
अच्छा.
उसने तेरे से ऑलरेडी वो
उसने 3600 तेरे से कम क्यों लिया? अपने अंदर के सिंधी को जगह.
जो मार्केट रेट से कम भर रहा है तो उसने वहां का
हाँ,
भाव
समझा.
सबसे पहले ही काट के ले लिया.
समझा?
हम्म.
नहीं समझा?
समझा.
मैं घर बैठ
तेरे को जहाँ जाना जा. ये बुकिंग क्या है? दिस इज बुकिंग 835 प्लस 4000. ये 4000 क्या है?
इंटरेस्ट.
ये इंटरेस्ट जो आप एक्चुअली कैश में दे रहे हो.
मेरे को अभी भी समझ में आया कि ये सेम क्यों नहीं होगा इसमें.
क्योंकि स्ट्रेट लाइन पे नहीं जा रहा है. इट इज नॉट एन इक्विवेलेंट एलोकेशन.
What is
It is calculated at 96,400 Danish because that is called effective interest rate method of calculation. That is called fair value. We are calculating it on the fair value. We effective interest rate का मतलब ये होता है कि उस पे ब्याज कैलकुलेट करो जो पैसा तुम इस्तेमाल कर रहे हो. तुम इस्तेमाल कितना किया? लाख रुपया किया कि 96,400 किया? तो जितना इस्तेमाल किया पहले उस पे कैलकुलेट करो कि इंटरेस्ट रेट कितना है. अब देखो तुमने कितना ब्याज भरा? 4000 रुपया ब्याज भरा. तो 4000 डिवाइडेड बाय 96,400 करके देखो जरा. इट इज अ लिटिल हायर परसेंटेज. इट इज 4.149%. अग्रीड? करो कैलकुलेटर पे. करो कैलकुलेटर पे. तुमने कितना ब्याज दिया? 4000. उसके सामने पैसा कितना इस्तेमाल किया? तुमने 4000 रुपया ब्याज दिया. इस्तेमाल कितना किया? 96,400. मतलब तुमने कितना ब्याज दिया? 4 पॉइंट समथिंग. बराबर है. तुमने दिया 4.149%. यस और नो? प्लीज टेल मी दैट.
Yeah.
बराबर है. माय डियर फ्रेंड्स, अगर आप इस परसेंटेज को देखेंगे 8% मल्टीप्लाइड बाय 6 डिवाइडेड बाय 12, ये तो फलसफा 4% हो रहा है ना. लेकिन आप अस्थायी रूप से अस्तित्व में रियलिटी में कितना इंटरेस्ट दे रहे हो? 4.149%. आई रिपीट द होल कॉन्सेप्ट इन इंग्लिश. आई रिपीट द होल कॉन्सेप्ट इन इंग्लिश बिकॉज आई डू नॉट वांट हरिप्रिया टू गेट कंफ्यूज्ड. Haripriya, I would like you to unmute yourself if possible, please. I'd like to have a conversation with you. Are you there? Yes, I can see you in my lecture. Please, can you unmute?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Guest 12 wo hai. Haripriya, can you see the lecture? Haripriya, am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yes, Haripriya, tell me one thing. Now please stay on unmute. How much money did you ask for? You asked for how much money, Haripriya? 1 lakh. Correct?
Yes, sir.
How much money did you receive, Haripriya?
96,400.
How much money are you effectively using?
96,400.
How much interest are you paying?
4,000.
4,000. Correct? But this 4,000 interest that you pay, it is paid for using 1 lakh or it is paid for using 96,400? It is paid for using 1 lakh, no?
96,400.
Correct? So what are you actually using? 96,400. So how much
Yes.
interest are you effectively paying? Something higher than 4%, which is
Yes, sir.
4.149%.
Yes, sir.
Correct? So effectively you are paying a higher rate of interest. Yes or no?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yes or no? Are you
Yes,
with me,
sir.
Haripriya?
Yes, sir.
Correct? Now, Haripriya, you asked for how much? 1 lakh?
Um,
How much did I give you?
96,400.
Did I give you 3,600 less?
Yes.
Isn't this in a way or the other a disguised way of charging you interest indirectly?
Yes, holding the amount. Yes.
Yes, at one shot. At one shot. Yes.
Yes, sir.
Isn't that 3,600 your loss because you're getting to use 3,600 lesser than what you need
Yes, sir.
and you are paying interest on the full amount of 1 lakh,
1 lakh. Yes, sir.
but you are using 3,600 less?
Yes.
Isn't this a punishment for you?
No.
In finance, what are punishments called?
Loss.
Shouldn't this loss be allocated over the life of the bond?
Yes, it has to be.
And we are going to do that by effective interest rate method,
Yes.
which takes into consideration fair value.
Okay.
And fair value of interest is how much? 10.031. Danesh, does that answer your doubt? And why with yield rate? Does that answer your doubt? Danesh,
Yes, sir, got it.
So
Sir, I have a question.
I'm answering it. Bol, bol.
there's also a fair value, मतलब जो
96,400 is the carrying value. It's
जो हम
the
लोग को
value
मिला
in
है.
your books. उतना पैसा तुझे मिला है.
and fair value is जितना पैसा जितना interest मिलना चाहिए
Exactly.
but मिल रहा नहीं.
मिल नहीं रहा है. Yes, you have a question. Ask the question.
Sir, as per the market, yield rate keeps on changing, right?
I'm sorry.
As per the market, yield rate keeps on changing.
But what happens under gap is that we do not consider a change in yield rate. When we are doing
the
reporting
entire-
for financial statements, we don't consider it. But when we are doing reporting for MISS, we have to consider it.
So for the entire period, for the entire lifespan, or
For the
for a
entire
particular.
lifespan, see, the thing is, accounts can't change. Markets will change. Accounts will change only if the economy is hyperinflationary. There is an accounting standard in IFRS called accounting for hyperinflationary economies. What you are saying will happen only in a hyperinflationary economy. But if you are looking at a company such as yours, which takes into consideration debt instruments, their MISS will have to go by the changing yield rate because they want the accurate calculation. Whereas financial reporting makes an exception. It says that it is impossible to keep tracking that much. You will never be able to complete the construction of your financial statements because today, if you are making a calculation at 10.031, tomorrow the market will shift by say 2 or 3 basis points. The interest rate will change from 10.031 to 10.029 or it will become 10.034. Understood?
Mm-hmm.
By that, you will never be able to finalize and finish your financial reporting at all. अकाउंट्स कब बनेंगे? रोज इंटरेस्ट रेट चेंज करोगे तो अकाउंट्स फाइनलाइज कब करोगे? कर ही नहीं पाओगे.
What I have seen so far is that whenever there is an interest period rate, right? Like it's a half yearly basis. So after every half yearly, we have a revaluation of the bonds, and then
The revaluation of a bond is treated as a gain or loss under a financial instrument.
Mhm.
It has nothing
Right.
to do with amortization.
So over, I have seen that the yield rate has also changed. I mean,
Yes, because you are making MISs, you are not making financial statements.
the same amount goes for the purpose of FS, sir. At the
It
year
does
end,
not go for financial reporting. It can't. Reporting has to be done at a fixed yield percentage. It is done at a fixed yield percentage. You cannot keep changing the yield percentage. Financial
Okay.
statements will not be constructed only because of that.
ठीक है.
You
Okay.
are seeing something in practice and you are seeing something in academics. Go by the academical flow to get the academical answer. Keep your practice where it is because that is how you all are doing it. You are not drawing up amortization statements or amortization journalizations. You are constructing MISs and you are giving certain numbers that go for reporting. Along with the changed yield number that you give for financial reporting, you also give a number of profit and loss.
Right.
Automatically, the yield percentage stays the same because profit and loss is calculated at a base. See, you might be giving a yield percentage of 10.029 tomorrow. I'm not saying no. But the difference between this is treated as a profit and a loss. Na? Matlab, essentially, what are you
Yes.
adjusting? 10.031 only.
By the
Understood?
end, FST will adjust it.
FS is always adjusted
Mhm.
because FS
Understood.
is made by a principle which says debit is equal to credit. So FS has to adjust itself.
Mhm. Right.
Understood?
Got it.
Haripriya, have you understood? Haripriya? Haripriya,
Yes, sir.
have you understood?
Yes, sir.
Any problems with Hindi? I gave you an English explanation also. Any problems? Any problems, Haripriya?
No, sir. Understood, sir.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Now, what about the rest? Muskan, Shaili, everybody else, what about you? Are you understanding?
Yes, sir.
Now, shall I continue?
Yes, sir.
Faraz, you had this understanding before?
Yes, sir. समझ गया सर मेरे को तो
ये पहले समझा था क्या?
हाँ सर समझ गया था फर्स्ट टाइम
फाइनेंशियल स्टेटमेंट. अबे बैलेंस शीट पीएनएल है. एफएस क्या होता है? गला काट देना मेरा. कहाँ से लाया इसको? 31st of December 2023. Interest paid in cash. Will it continue to be 4,000? Yes.
Yes.
But remember one thing. This is paid on this
Carry.
at the rate of 10.031 percentage. So now what will you have, my dear friends? Now you will have 97. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Hold on. I have made an error in the arrows. Please forgive me. This 4835, this 4835 is paid on what? On 96,400. At what rate? At the rate of 10.031. Is this clear?
Yeah.
Now, on 97,235, at the rate of 10.031 percentage, for half year we will pay. Sir, why like this? Because the carrying value of the instrument will increase after every cycle of interest. This is exactly what is called as fair value reporting. Sir, why do we reduce the value of an asset after we charge depreciation? Because that's the whole concept. So over here, after the amortization, our carrying value is going to increase. So now on what will you charge? Now on 97 to 35, use the logic of depreciation. So this fellow that will come now will come on what? 97 to 35 at the rate of what? Calculate. What is your answer? 4877. What is the bond amortization? 877. As you guessed it, what is amortization of bond? It is interest expense minus cash paid. Now what is the balance that is left? Now you are going to be left with 1,888.
ये खराब है calculator.
Now you will be left with 1,888. Right? Now what will be the missing figure? Total has to be 1 lakh. What will you get? 99,000, sorry, 98,112.
112.
98,112. Now for this particular cycle, shall we pass a journal entry? Yes. What is the bond interest? What is the cash paid? What is the discount amortized? What is this? Discount amortized. Agreed?
Yeah.
Now, my dear friends, over 4 interest cycles, 1, 2, 3, and 4, you are supposed to amortize a total of how much? 3,600. How much have you amortized so far? 835, 877. What does this come to? 1712 has been amortized over here. So, of course, what will be amortized over here? Balance. What is the balance? 1,888 has to be amortized. Is what is left to be amortized? Is this your unamortized discount? Yes. समझा? 3,600 को तुमने वो 4 पीरियड में बांट दिया. पहले पीरियड में कितना काटा? 835. दूसरे पीरियड में कितना काटा? 877. अब कितना बचा? 2 पीरियड का पकड़ के 1,888. देख तेरा आउटस्टैंडिंग अनअमोर्टाइज डिस्काउंट कितना है? सर्कल मार के उसमें अभी सितारे मार रहा हूं मैं. कितना है बोल? अब ये 1,888 ये 2 टुकड़ों में बटेगा कि नहीं? ये पहला वाला टुकड़ा जिसपे डॉट मार रहा हूं और ये दूसरा वाला टुकड़ा जिसपे डॉट मार रहा हूं. आ रहा है समझ में?
Yes, sir.
वापस बोलो ना.
Why does carrying value get increased? Carrying value get increased because the bond amortization releases itself. Amortization की वजह से ये तुम्हारा जो लॉस हुआ है ना, एक झटके में जो तुमने लॉस मारा था ना 3,600, अभी ये लॉस को तुम इसेंशियली रिवर्स कर रहे हो. बेसिक अकाउंट से दानिश 3,600 डेबिट में पड़ा था ना, इधर डेबिट में. अभी धीरे धीरे वो क्रेडिट में आने लग गया ना, तो जितना वो क्रेडिट में आया उतने से तेरा वैल्यू बढ़ते चला गया. समझा?
तो ये 2 बार और कंटिन्यू करेंगे.
यस ऑफ कोर्स. जगह नहीं है लिखने के लिए, होती तो और पूरा ही लिख देता. नहीं है लैपटॉप. सुबह से कल से दिमाग की मां बहन कर रहा है ये. ठीक है? समझ रहा है? 100% इसका स्क्रीनशॉट लेके रख रहा हूं. पर एक अच्छा हुआ ना, तुम लोग हर एक कैलकुलेशन के साथ उसका जर्नल एंट्री लिखोगे. एक तरीके से अच्छा है. राइट गाइस, लेट्स गो अहेड. नेक्स्ट पीरियड इज 30th of June 24. इस पे तो यार घिसा पिटा है. ऑन 1,08%, 6/12. इधर तो 4,000 ही आएगा.
98
अब इधर कितना आएगा? इधर आएगा 98,112 मल्टीप्लाइड बाय 10.031% मल्टीप्लाइड बाय 6 डिवाइडेड बाय 12. कितना है इधर? 4,967. कितना? सॉरी 4,921. सॉरी 4,921. तो इधर कितना आया? 921. अब कितना बचा? अब इसमें से बचा कितना बचा बोलो? 967 बचा. तो अब इधर कितना आएगा? What is the new carrying value? The new carrying value will become 99,033. 99,033. इसका जर्नल एंट्री क्या आएगा? तीसरे वाले का डेबिट द एक्सपेंसेस एंड लॉसेस. बॉन्ड इंटरेस्ट एक्सपेंस अकाउंट डेबिट कितना है? 4,921.
492.
टू कैश कितना जाएगा? 4,000. और टू डिस्काउंट कितना जाएगा? 921. अब कितना डिस्काउंट तुमने एमोर्टाइज कर लिया? सर टोटल हमने एमोर्टाइज कर लिया है 1,888, मतलब 835 प्लस 877 प्लस 921. मतलब कितना हुआ टोटल? मारो व्हाट इज द टोटल एमोर्टाइज्ड डिस्काउंट? 835 प्लस 877 1712 प्लस 26,333. Out of how much? Out of 3,600. Minus 3,600 on the calculator quickly.
745.
No,
967.
wrong. 967. Use the calci properly. I repeat, 835 plus 877 plus 921 is the total amortized amount. But how much are you supposed to totality में amortize? 3,600. What is left? 967. It is not a miracle. It is basic mathematics. What you are doing has got nothing to do with finance. It is pure bookkeeping and mathematics. Please keep that much in mind. So this was your 3rd year's entry. I appreciate that this is heavy. नहीं यार, नहीं. ये पहला वाला था, ये देखना इसमें पहला 1 साल का आ गया,
हाँ
इधर 2 साल का, हाँ वो गलती से वो आया रहेगा, और ये इधर ये तीसरे साल का, अभी चौथे वाला इधर डालूंगा, ये जगह नहीं है लिखने के लिए।
Heavy है।
हाँ तो बीकॉम नहीं कर रहा है तू, हेवी है, सीएफए कर रहा है तो हेवी रहेगा ना, बीकॉम करने तो जा जीएन के साथ बैठ। इधर क्या आएगा, 1 मिनट, इधर मेरे को इसको हटाना है, बहुत हटा रहा है दिमाग की तरह। हाँ अभी इधर क्या आएगा,
1 lakh into
4,000
4,000 8
4,000। सर इधर कैलकुलेशन
99033
सर 99033
into 10.031
इंटू 10.031
into 1 divided by 2.
इंटू 1/2, और इधर आपको 967 आएगा,
490
इधर कितना आएगा 967। अब इधर क्या होएगा नील, एंड मैजिकली इसकी वैल्यू क्या हो गई 1 लाख। सर 1 लाख इसकी एट द एंड ऑफ द पीरियड हो गई कैरिंग वैल्यू, सर कैरिंग वैल्यू, सर दैट इज माई आउटस्टैंडिंग लायबिलिटी एट द एंड ऑफ द पीरियड, दैट इज माई आउटस्टैंडिंग लायबिलिटी एट द एंड ऑफ द पीरियड। मुझे पैसा कितना लौटाना है सर, डू आई हैव टू रिटर्न 96,400 और 1 लाख, आई हैव टू रिटर्न 1 लाख,
1 lakh.
and that should be the value of my liability at the end of the period. Look at this is the value of the liability at the end of the period. ये मैं पैसा भर के आऊंगा कि नहीं, और शुरुआत
sir.
में पेएबल कितना दिखाया मैंने सर 96,400 में, मेरा
96,400
पेएबल का वैल्यू बढ़ाता चला गया, किससे बढ़ाता चला गया, अनएमोर्टाइज्ड डिस्काउंट से बढ़ाता चला गया। सर क्यों, व्हाई डिड यू डू इट लाइक दैट, why did you show a payable at 96,400? Because that is the goddamn fair value, that is how much money I have to fucking pay. But sir, you have to pay 1 lakh. Not today. I have to pay 1 lakh after 4 cycles of interest. After one cycle of interest, I have to repay 97,235. The amount that I have to repay goes on increasing year on year, cycle on cycle. That is why it increases. Danesh, are you getting a re-explanation for it? Yes or no?
Yes, sir. Yes,
And it
sir.
increases at the fair value of the market rate. Please understand. It increases at the fair market rate. This is called fair value accounting for bonds. Are we clear about this? Yes or no? Please tell me that.
Yeah.
100%. You all have questions on bond amortization in CMA. But nowhere in no books is bond amortization taught as a concept. I am teaching it to you as a concept because I don't want any rooms for complaints later on. Are you with me? CMA students? CFA has no choice. You will have to do everything in bonds. Bonds is like a Mahabharat for you right now. This is just the beginning. Right? Comfortable? You may not be. You may need practice. I get it. Live on with it. What can I say?
Sir, but how is this generally benefiting the company?
This is not benefiting the company. This is transparent reporting.
So it's
96,400 is payable, right? But how much are you going to end में pay?
1 lakh.
Why?
End में तो 1 lakh नहीं
Why? Because that's the contract. How did 96,400 become 1 lakh? Eventually or overnight?
No, not eventually. After 4.
Yeah, that means eventually, na?
हाँ.
Eventually मतलब over a period of
हाँ,
time.
हाँ.
English सीख.
अरे आपने overnight बोला.
I said eventually or overnight.
Eventually.
Eventually.
Yeah.
How? What was the eventuality of that happening? Every year, how much increased? 835, then 877, then 977 and 967. These are parts of what? जो 3,600 पहले तू कम खा चुका है ना, उसको तू नुकसान तरीके दिखा रहा है. You are debiting your expenses. तेरे P&L के डेबिट में क्या जाता है? 4835. Why is 4835 going even though you are paying 4,000? That should be your question.
Because 90 is.
Because 3,600 I paid more. On effective rate, I paid 835 more in the first year, 877 in the second year, 921 in the third year, and 967 in the fourth year.
तो मतलब जाएगा 4,000 ही, लेकिन
जेब में से जाएगा 4,000, लेकिन एक्सपेंस दिखाऊंगा 4,835 का. क्यों? क्योंकि बेटा शुरुआत में तेरे पास 3,600 कम आया था. वो ओवरनाइट कम आया था कि इवेंचुअलिटी के लिए कम आया था? इवेंचुअलिटी के लिए, एक पीरियड में बटने के लिए कम आया था. वो पीरियड में कैसे बटेगा? 835, 877, 921 और 966. आई बात समझ में? इसका स्क्रीनशॉट हो गया ना? अभी बात को समझो. नाउ पे अटेंशन. 1 लाख मांगा था, 1 लाख मांगा था, 96,400 मिला. मतलब 3,600 क्या हुआ, कम मिला, ये घाटा ही हुआ तेरा, ये घाटा हुआ एब्सोल्युटली। पर ये घाटा ओवर द पीरियड ऑफ द बॉन्ड होगा, ये एक झटके का घाटा नहीं है, ये एक झटके का नहीं है। आर यू अंडरस्टैंडिंग? ये
Yes.
एक झटके में नहीं हुआ है। तो सर इसको ओवर द पीरियड है तो कैसे बांटे, ओवर द पीरियड है तो कैसे बांटे इसको, इसको हर पीरियड में कैसे दिखाए, इफेक्टिव इंटरेस्ट रेट को यूज करके। सबसे पहले 96,400 को अपनी लायबिलिटी बनाओ, क्योंकि इतना रोकड़ा मिला है। लेकिन भाई दे के तो आ रहा हूं मैं ₹1,00,000 ना, चलेगा ना? तो मैं 96,400 को 1,00,000 बनाऊंगा, और इसको हर 1,00,000 बनाने में जो मुझे 4 नंबर ऐड करने पड़ेंगे ना, क्योंकि मेरे पास 4 इंटरेस्ट साइकिल है तो 4 नंबर, ये तेरा एक्स्ट्रा एक्सपेंस तरीके में दिखाऊंगा हर पीरियड में। ये क्या मैं दिखाऊंगा, तेरा एक्स्ट्रा एक्सपेंस तरीके में दिखाऊंगा हर पीरियड में। ये एक्स्ट्रा एक्सपेंस दिखा के सर आप क्या कर लोगे, राजा जो तू 4,000 दे रहा है ना, उसके साथ साथ तू जो ये 3,600 का मार खा के आ गया ना, इसको मैं 4 पीरियड में बांटूंगा। ओवरऑल तेरा नुकसान 7,600 का ही हुआ है, लेकिन ये जो 3,600 तू मार खा के आया ना एक झटके में इधर, उसको मैं मलहम लगा के ये 4 टुकड़ों में बांट दूंगा। कैसे? इसको 835 करूंगा, इसको 877 करूंगा, इसको 921 करूंगा, और इसको 966 करूंगा। अब ये सबको जोड़ना, तू ₹1,00,000 दे के आएगा, तू ₹1,00,000 दे के आएगा। आर यू अंडरस्टैंडिंग?
Yes.
मतलब this 3,600 was over the period of the bond. How did I do it? In first period, how much I put? 835. In second period, how much I put? 877. In third period, how much I put? 921. And in fourth period, how much I put? 967. On what basis? Effective interest rate. आ रहा है समझ में?
हाँ.
That's how the game works. तो 3,600 का नुकसान अगर एक ही टाइम पे मैं पीएनएल में डालूंगा, इट विल इम्पैक्ट अकाउंटिंग फॉर वन पर्टिकुलर पीरियड, but the bond is impacting the accounting not for one but for two particular periods over 4 interest cycles. Therefore this should be the loss for 1 year, this should be the loss for year 1, and this should be the loss for year 2.
Yeah.
Correct? And that is precisely what we have done by amortizing it that way.
तो सेम प्रॉफिट में भी कर सकते
Yes, you can do the same for premium amortization. What do you think we're doing next? It will be recognized not as an expense, it will be recognized as an income. Here you will not debit it, there here you are debiting, there you will credit it. Simple. Simple. Same numbers I will do, but instead of 96,400, I will take 1,03,600 now. Why? 3,600 I'll make it sit in the premium. Finished.
Wait, so then when it's premium, you give more profit.
Yes, because you are asking for how much? 1,00,000. यहाँ पे देख, look at your screen. मांगा था कितना? 1,00,000. What if I say you got 1,03,600? ये कम मिला कि ज्यादा मिला?
ज्यादा
यहाँ पे ज्यादा हुआ ना, ज्यादा मिला तो क्या हो गया तेरा?
profit.
फायदा। ज्यादा फायदा मीन्स प्रॉफिट ब्रो।
Yeah.
हाँ,
हाँ.
समझ में आ रहा है? अरे इंग्लिश मीडियम का था ना।
अरे मैं
तू कूल है, तू हिंदी भी इंग्लिश में बात करता है, मैं थोड़ा छापरी हूँ, छापरी। ठीक है, आया समझ में?
हाँ.
अंडरस्टैंडिंग व्हाट आई एम ट्राइंग टू से? चलो इसको भी मैं ले लेता हूं आपके स्क्रीनशॉट में, टेक दिस एज अ सिग्नेचर। ठीक है, सो आई एम श्योर यू ऑल आर एग्जॉस्टेड, सो नाउ व्हाट यू डू इन योर एग्जॉस्शन इज आई विल स्टॉप द रिकॉर्डिंग।
Excuse me, sir.